Okay. Hi guys, welcome to the channel. So I'm just now getting off of work and I just wanted to come on here for Talk About It Thursday. And today's topic, I'm a little bundled up. Today's topic is how to find out, or what signs to look out for to know that someone is toxic, or if you are toxic. Okay, so that is what I'm going to be talking about a little bit today, because you know, we all been hearing about the narcissist person being a narcissist, and also someone being toxic, right? Red flag, all of that. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. So continue to watch, and I'll see you guys after the intro. Okay, so I would say, let me just chill a little bit, okay, because it's a Talk About It Thursday moment. I would say at one point or another, if we truly look at ourselves and evaluate ourselves, someone might say that we were the toxic one, or we might say that someone else is the toxic one, right? And I think it all depends on the moment in time as to like what your relationship with the person is. If it's starting to go towards a negative route, then the person might say it's toxic, or you are toxic. And then if it's not, then they might not say that. So sometimes if a person is not getting what he or she wants, and the relationship is not as equal, they might say that you are toxic towards them, or they are toxic towards yourself. But anyways, so the first thing that I would say, I have a little thing here on my phone, so if I look down, don't worry about it. It's just that, okay? First thing I would say is, you know someone is toxic if he or she drags your past. Okay, so they just bring up your past over and over and won't allow you to be different. Okay, so if you're in the trajectory or pathway of growth, and this person just keeps bringing up your past, and especially things that you want to forget, things that you want to grow from, things that were negative in a sense, and they just keep bringing it up. It could be a bad habit, it could be something that you mistakenly said once before. If this person keeps bringing it up over and over and not allowing you the opportunity to grow and change, then I would say that person is toxic towards yourself. Okay, and if you're doing that towards somebody, at that moment you're being toxic. Okay, like if the person apologizes and shows signs of change and improvement, I would just let it go, because again, them growing and being better will also be beneficial towards your relationship as a whole. That could be a friendship, that could be siblingship, that could be a relationship of, you know, a partner and things like that. I would say, do not constantly bring up someone's past. Like, it's been done, it's there, it's back there. What can you do? You keep dragging it up, bringing it with you as a baggage, it's just gonna weigh you down. So I would say if you see that in a person, you would consider them toxic. I think I'm gonna go over five things And there's many more. But for the length of this video for today, for Talk About It Thursday, I just want to go over 5. So the next thing I would say is, okay, if this person, how do I say this? If this person, right, is very critical, very controlling, and does not think about your needs. So if the person is very critical of you and your behavior, very controlling, meaning you don't have the opportunity to be yourself and do what you want that makes you happy, it's always about that person and what makes them happy, he or she happy, then I would say that person is toxic, because they're very soft evolved, like very me kind of thing. And if that is in the situation you're in, when you get the opportunity to book it, run. Because as any type of relationship, you should not have one person constantly controlling your every moment, right? Telling you what to do, not making sure that you do not have your own intellect, your own thought process, right? So at that moment, I would say that person is being toxic towards you. And if you're trying to control what a person in your relationship does constantly, look at yourself in the mirror and see why you feel like you have to be in a controlling predicament, right? Where you have to control everything. And sometimes people are like that because if he or she knows that, okay, I have control of this thing, then the possibility of the outcome going my way is a lot more and greater, right? But you can't control the free will of another person, and by doing that, I would say you're being toxic. Like, no one is your puppet. No one is your even as you have children, you can control to some extent, but eventually you have to be able to allow that person to become an individual, right? So I would say, yeah, someone that's very critical of all that you do, never really telling you that you've done something good, never really putting light onto the positive things, but always somewhat of a Debbie Downer, I would say that person is toxic. Okay, so that's number 2. Number 3. Okay, let me go ahead and do this, because then I won't forget. I already did number 1. That's when the person is bringing up your past over and over. The next one was being critical and controlling. Okay. So, my next one I would say is, I think I already tied it a little bit, but I would say is they somewhat violate your boundaries, right? They violate your boundaries and never really respect now. So, compromise is important, right? It's important to have compromise. However, you shouldn't feel as if saying no is a bad thing, right? Sometimes when there's a compromise, sometimes you feel like you end up losing anyways, because you compromise to appease someone, but then they change their mind or act a different way, although you have compromise. Because again, as people, we have free will. We can change at any time, and that's something I've had to learn over time, is to just understand, yes, you compromise, then you did this and that, you met someone halfway, but they don't always can meet you halfway, because someone that is often cases, if they are toxic, as you move closer and closer to the halfway point, they're going to move the opposite way, because really they don't want to meet you halfway, if you understand what I'm saying. Like, they don't really want to meet you halfway. They're just constantly moving the boundaries, constantly moving the line, constantly moving the expectation, because that again will kind of have them in control of what is going on, and that to me is toxic. You have to meet people halfway, because you are never, like, no one is like the complete package, because we're always growing and developing and trying to be better, right? I would say, well, at least for me, I'm always trying to grow, be better. Yes, I've made mistakes and I learn from them, and I want to hear you out. At the same time, like, if you've made mistakes and in my situations, right, in my life, and I address it with you, I would really appreciate it if you take that into account and understand where I'm coming from, right? Because my goal is also to meet people where they're at, and then hopefully we grow together, right, and become better. All right, so that was number 3. My next thing is, let's just say, and I think I'm gonna give you guys 5 ways to kind of be 5 solutions in a way, right? So that we can at least combat with. So that is not just all the the toxic part, right? I want to give you some other ways to deal with that. So in a situation that's toxic as well, apart from just the control, nothing you say or do is ever good enough, right? And I just spoke about the boundaries. You setting boundaries and that not being respected, or you meeting someone halfway because of compromising. They're not really compromising at all. It's just they're being appeased, right? Just in some toxic situations, I would say the person that's being toxic, not just being overly critical, is also trying to paint this picture, show this picture that they are the epitome of perfection. Okay? And let me just cut it to you straight. No one on this earth is perfect. Because if anyone was, we would not be growing, trying to be better, right? We would not have many obstacles. We would not have any emotional distress, right? We would not have things such as war. We would not have conflict, battle scars, right? Things like that. So really, no one is perfect. Okay? So just looking at someone and just saying constantly that basically what they say or do is not good enough. Well, it is good enough for them, for that person. Like, that's what they could do at that moment. That's what, I don't know, they could afford, they could account to, right? They could do. So let me just give an example, a random example. So if you are in a relationship and you have a spouse, and this spouse, let's say you both work, right? You both work, and this spouse will always make sure that you have food on the table when you get home. You both work. It could be the male spouse or the female spouse. It doesn't matter. One spouse is making sure that there's food on the table, food that you once they've noticed that you like. All of a sudden, you're being very critical. You are You're either not eating the food, you're judging the food, you're criticizing the food, but you're not giving any type of gratitude. You're not giving any type of feedback as to how they can improve the food to your new taste buds, right? That is an example of being toxic, because someone is investing time and doing something that he or she was once informed that you do like. However, once that changes, you need to inform the next person, because often cases we are creatures of habit, so we tend to do and say and react to things in a certain way, right? So that's an example of either being toxic, right? I would say never telling someone that they're good at something or done something that is positive, and always whenever you're around that person, you bring negativity, you bring this cloud. And sometimes you might not think you are. You might think that you're trying to improve their life and you're making the best out. You're trying to make the best picture for them. However, if this person is not showing in response a brightness, love, and excited, and they are communicating to you often cases that they want life a certain way, and you're not seeing that whenever they're around you, I would say you're being toxic. The whole thing about being toxic, I would say, is just like when you have a toxin in your body, it can be flushed out. It can be, right? So just like that, if someone is being toxic, they can be removed. And if they're not, or eradicated, like something isn't done to fix it, right, that toxin or toxic person would then be the detriment of your life. Like it would then end, right, hurt you in a way that is somewhat going to take a lot longer for you to come back towards what you considered yourself, your normal self, right? So that's why in often cases when people are in toxic relationship with friends, family members, and things like that, while trying to improve and be better within that situation, both parties have to do that. And if both parties are not doing that, then it just becomes a limbo, because one person might think that they are again the epitome of perfection, and they're really not, right? So I would say for those things, again, if someone I think I already listed 5 already, right? So one thing is, if they bring up your past all the time, okay, if they're critical, controlling, and don't let you, they don't think about your needs, only their needs. If they are not respecting boundaries, always violating your boundaries of what you want and don't want, right? If they are, let's see, I think I said 5, but I think I'm at 4. But I think I'm also at 4. And lastly, number 4, not lastly, number 4, they feel like nothing you say or do is good enough. Okay. And if I said 5 already, this would just be the 5th one. Okay. This would just be the 5th one. Okay. Yeah, I think I've said 5, but if I haven't, let me just go ahead and say the 5th one. Okay. So I'm going to go with this one because I think this one is important. So number 5, which is really important, when you have a relationship with someone that's very toxic, you feel as if it's difficult to communicate with this person, as if he or she is not hearing you, right? You could talk their ears off, but you would feel like nothing. Like as you're speaking to that person, you would feel like nothing is computing up here. Like nothing is going in the ears at all. Okay, not even the front, like the forehead. Like nothing is going in to the brain. So it's very difficult, and this person would probably forget important dates, important things that are important to you. They will probably forget it. They probably will not prioritize or celebrate you in, you know, the things that are of importance to you, or moments or accomplishments that are of importance to you. And they will not communicate. Right? So this person will not communicate. So the idea of like ghosting and doing all of that, that also is toxic. Like, because how are you supposed to have something grow and flourish if you don't give it the proper attention, if you don't water it, if you don't feed it, right? If you don't do what it's supposed to do so that it grows, right? So in a toxic situation, this person will not communicate, will not celebrate their significant other, but would enjoy being celebrated. Will definitely enjoy being celebrated. That's why sometimes people feel like in toxic moments there is a narcissist in there, and one person is. And I think that is somewhat true. But yeah, so they will definitely just want to make sure that they are in control. That's the most thing in a situation that is toxic. One person is always feeling like he or she has to be in control. And I really think the only thing you should worry about controlling is you. Your time, what you do, who you're deciding to be and not be around, right? And because it's a job. I think it's a job trying to control another person. And I already have my jobs, and these jobs are paying me. So having to worry about someone else and he or she and their behaviors and everything, it can be very draining. Like, it's just too much. So for me, making sure that I am not, because I said I'm going to give you guys 5, right? Making sure that I am not the toxic one. I tend to do the following. And I'm going to list them on the bottom here, guys, as I do this, because this is going to go up today. That is the goal. Okay? That is the goal for Talk About It Thursday. Okay. So, to make sure, if I'm in a situation, right, and I am trying to, let's say, free myself or make sure I am not in a toxic moment, right, I'm gonna stop trying to just please this person. I'm gonna stop trying to just give this person what the person wants. And that could be family, that could be friends, that could be significant other, right, partner, so on, right? I'm gonna little by little just not prioritize them as much, because they have shown me their colors, their truth, right? That they're very toxic in a way. I am second gonna make sure, like, and I'm working on just I'm just working on taking care of myself, right? And just focusing on myself. So that's the second thing. I tend to just get to self-preservation, taking care of Kadi mode, right? And sometimes that's good. Like, pamper myself, make sure I am on a journey, make sure that I am surrounded with things that put a smile on my face. Like, that is what I would, like, I'll do that. Like, if I just notice, you said you want me to help you with this, you said you want to do this together, and you're not doing it, and you're not a person of your word, and you showed that to me several times, I am very good at just removing myself, because I am not being seen as a plus. I'm more so I guess neutral, because you're not really elevating my situation. Yeah, so you're not really elevating my situation in any way. So I will remove myself. So I gotta make sure that one, I'm no longer going to try and please that person. Second, I am going to take care of myself. Third, I am going to make sure I reinforce the boundaries, inform of the boundaries several times. And again, if someone is not listening and they are not deaf of hearing, I am going to just cut it off. And that's the thing about me. When I get to the point where I just like cut that person off, that means there's no inkling of and no possibility of there being something, right? And I've already noticed that you are not bringing positivity or helping me go this way. Instead, you are bringing me down, having me feel a certain way, and I am very quick of noticing that, and I think we all are. Once we've noticed it, we just should not, and try our best to not be in denial and try to think, oh, somebody's gonna change. Well, we're not in control of that. So are you gonna wait until that person decides to change, while you've wasted your effort, your love, your care, and sometimes let's say your money, right? Because you're investing in this person that's not really investing in themselves, right? You gotta love yourself first. Take care of yourself first. Be honest with those around you before you can really like give that outwards, right? So yeah, that's what the things I've said so far. Take care of yourself. Stop trying to please them. Enforce boundaries. I would say acknowledge that it is abusive. If you are in a toxic situation, once you've realized that it is abusive, and I'm using that word in a sense because we tend to take things a little bit more seriously, right? So if it becomes that way in your brain, you're gonna be in the flight mode, right? Your brain is gonna be in the survival mode, like it wants to survive and preserve you, right, and take care of you. So if someone is constantly just putting pressure in a negative way, right, so that you can be either like them and make them happy, at that moment you should be in the flight to just exit, okay? It's 2022. We're trying to be growing. Definitely have learned a lot of things from the past year, that words are words. I guess I just like, it's more important now as I am getting older and I've had several, let's say, goals that I wanted to accomplish, and just realizing, regardless of anything, like, actions speak louder. Actions, like, I've always knew that, but I'm just saying, like, actions speak way louder. Somebody can talk your ears off and tell you all the sweet things and all the things, but if you don't put action to it, you could take it 2 steps and like go that way, like go, because the words are just fairy tales. The actions are like the reality, right? In my mind, they are the now. The actions are the display of the words. You know what I mean? Let's see, so I could just, because we're almost done here. Okay, so I think I already got most of it down. What did I say so far? Stop trying to please them, enforce boundaries, take care of myself, have an exit strategy, especially if it's like family and things like that, because sometimes it is hard to remove yourself. However, you might just be able to go and take care of yourself and then come back and help family, right? Sometimes you cannot, as I said earlier, it is hard for you to deal with a toxic situation or to grow if both parties are not doing it at the same time, right? So both parties are not reflecting at the same time. So I would say have an exit strategy. And then lastly, realizing that you cannot change anyone. Once someone changes, is because of their own will, and it's because they're ready to change, right? So you cannot change anyone. And if you feel like you are going to be the one to change someone, I would say think a little bit about that. Do a little bit of self-reflection. And we're not, and I'm saying that even to myself, we're not perfect. We're going to have those moments when we think, and have those moments when we think that because of what we have done, this person is changing. So on, yes, it can impact the person, but when that person changes, it's on them. And one thing I really I heard that resonated with me, saying that someone makes me feel this way. No, you are feeling that way. You are choosing to react or feel a certain way towards what was done or said to you, especially if it's not a positive feeling. Just like that, you can switch the feelings. And it takes work, it takes time, and so on. So that's why sometimes many people are shocked when you don't react a certain way, because you are choosing your reaction. And that is the most powerful thing, is when you have control of your own actions and reactions. Okay, so I just wanted to come on here, guys, real quick and just do a quick talk about it Thursday. I just came from work and we're chilling, we're just chatting. But just remember, sometimes you might be the toxic one. You might be. And if someone brings that up to you and informs you that you are negatively impacting them, or you are making them feel a certain way, do a quick reflection, do a quick evaluation of yourself and see how, you might have behaved in a toxic way. And do the same for those around you. Right? So I just want to say thank you guys for watching. I hope I gave you guys 5 and 5 of signs of knowing that somebody is toxic, ways that you can alleviate or get away from something that is toxic, or someone that is toxic, right, in that sense. So I hope you guys enjoy this video and talk about it Thursday. Leave down in the comments what you would like to talk about. Sometimes my girls will be on here, my siblings, my friends, all of that might be on here, so just watch out for that. Leave a comment below as to whether or not you've been the toxic one or been in a situation that is considered toxic. It could be a partner, a family, so on and so forth. Let's continue the conversation in the chat. And just like Asian doll, I would say, if a situation is getting a little and I might talk about that next week, get your butt up and exit. Okay? Just deuce it out, okay? Because all you can do is control your own actions and your own happiness, right? And how you act and react. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you're new to the family, I welcome you. Subscribe. Hit that like button if you like this topic. And then share this video, because sometimes we got to do a little quick look in the mirror, right? I'm with the man in the mirror. Oh yeah. So yeah, have a little Michael Jackson reflection. Check yourself in the mirror, okay? And see what you need to work on for yourself, because the better you are for you and the happier you are, I bet you're going to make other people happy too. And if someone is not doing that and making you feel happy, I would say take a moment and think about why that is happening. So I will see you guys in the next Talk About It Thursday. Don't forget to watch tomorrow's video for Fashion Friday. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye!